Honestly, one of the things that I learned is trust your guts. That thing about there's a feeling, there's a way that it's so clear to you. So now it's like I don't compromise as much, right? If that's what it is, that's what it is. If I feel it, it's valid.
A wise man once said, intelligent men feel what most men only know.
Yeah.
So feeling really is the truth.
Oh yes.
Feeling is the truth. Seeing is believing, but feeling is the truth. Is the truth.
Because welcome to another episode of The Perspective with the Raven, where we have real life conversations about the journey and all things we've learned so far. So I'm here today with a great guy, a creative wizard, storyteller, podcaster, Rodney Omeokachie.
It's good to be here, Jakpo.
The young god.
The one and only.
One and only. One of the most confident human beings I've met in my life.
Hey.
Like, where'd you get this sense of self that is larger than life?
Bro, I've lived life, man.
You've lived life.
I've been through some things. I've had like what I call God moments where you realize, that you're meant to be here, you're who you say you are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things that only you and God know. You can't even like say it out loud. Yeah, just cause. And I'm talking like early in my life as a teenager up until, the moment in 2015, 16, where I actually said for the first time on social media, I'm a God. And I started to attract all the different reactions. So you get to a point after living life and you've been through all kinds of things and you know yourself to a level, then you just like, it's something internal. Also, the way I was raised, the schools I went to, and just being a global citizen. Right. So between age 16 and age 23, so that's 2016, I was developing all those things that let me know that, I'm different. And I've always known I was different. I've always known things most people didn't know. I've always done things in a way that was very, unique to me. I got in trouble for it. Whatever pushbacks I experienced in adulthood for being who I was, I really lived it in high school.
So it wasn't anything new.
It wasn't new. So I knew that this is just the way being me would just like Moses on the Red Sea.
Right.
It would separate the wheat from
And
the
you're
chaff.
comfortable with that.
And I was comfortable with it. Obviously, would I prefer for it to just be all ice cream and roses and everybody just understands what it is? Yeah, but it just so happens that we live in a world where when you move very precisely and know what you're made of, especially when you're not like a celebrity in the traditional sense of the word, you're not an influencer. I'm influential, I'm not an influencer.
Of course,
different, So that would cause a lot of pushback for Nigerians, especially because like what is the reason?
Culturally, we're not allowed to really.
Yeah, but you always feel like you have to have like an outward show of riches
Before you
can, or you have to be maybe in some position, right, or a celebrity, And I was just a normal guy, and I was really like, I was it before I was.
Yeah, you're confident from. So I remember the first time that I met you. I came for a meeting, and this guy called Harry, and he was like, "Dude, like we wanted to work on something together." And I was like, "Good, I have this guy. He's crazy. He's amazing. He can do all this different." I was like, "Cool story, right?" And I remember I walk in, and I just. First of all, it's like the way that you smiled, right? There was this confidence I was just like, why is this guy so sure of himself? Like, who does he think he is? That's not in a negative way, right? I was curious about it, right? So I knew you first as a creative, right? With Avo, right? And I knew you from branding, brand storytelling. So because I work in the space as well, I understood the need for that kind of confidence in being able to talk and speak for people and tell their own story. But then I was curious about the source of it.
Yeah.
Right. Why were you so sure? So you talked about how you're a global citizen, right? So where did you grow up? What was your upbringing like?
I was born in South Korea, first of all. So that's already like being a Nigerian and Igbo person born in that's as rare as it gets. I've yet to meet somebody born there, like a Nigerian born there. So that already is like the first thing I hold with pride, that's very, very interesting story. And then from that point on, I lived in Nairobi, I lived in South Africa, I lived in Amsterdam, and going to all those places as a young man, and especially being a Nigerian in those spaces, I could see again how different we are from them and how they treated this black kid. So I was always, man, in South Korea, it was crazy because there's no black man for miles, unlike all the other countries I've been in. So imagine you're in a space with South Korean kids and you stand out like a sore thumb, or you're in a mall, right? And your mom is holding you, and then all the other are just looking
like a side attraction.
Yeah. So I've always been used to that. I knew that I was
different.
I was here, but not of it. And I embraced that throughout my life. And so even now, when I'm in a place where I'm more like
people around you,
which
are still different.
So it's just been that kind of experience. So by the time I became an adult, I'd leaned into it. It had become me. I could not be anything else. And man, it was nice even to just know that we're not the same in ways you don't even know, but we're not the same.
Not the same.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how you move. Like, I know you don't know it, but we're not the same. Is that kind of how you think about it?
Yeah.
When you move in things. Also, like, how did you get into this whole brand storytelling, this creative process? You know what I mean? Is it something you studied, or was it just?
I think it's a thing I didn't study. It's a thing that I always had a flair for.
Okay.
But it was a process. So I first started out in music.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was a musician back in the day in uni. Yeah, in South Africa.
Really?
My stage.
What's your stage name?
My stage name was Dirty Sexy Rodney. DSR.
DSR?
Dirty Sexy for short.
For sure, Dirty Sexy for sure. Okay. What kind of music did you?
I rapped, I sang, I made beats, I wrote songs. Bro, I could do it all. My friends would come into my dorm. See, Rounds and Naira. You know the song?
That was a banger.
Yeah, I have a writing credit on it. One. In fact, yeah. He used to make music in my dorm. I knew the guy from that point.
That is so crazy.
Yeah, so after that, I now went into photography, and
I knew a bit about that. Okay.
And even before then, I taught myself how to make music videos. You know, I would see my favorite songs and I'll make a music video for it when I was a kid. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was always just dabbling and just developing all those skills. Then I wrote short stories. I wrote novels.
Where did you find the time to do all this?
Bruh.
Were you a loner?
I've always.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a loner, especially when I got to uni. The moment I could stay on my own in uni, I was so glad to have a space where I could. Man, yeah.
Yeah. But you do enjoy your own company, I can see that.
And yeah, there's you don't develop that sense of, because when you're alone, you go deep into yourself.
Yeah.
In your loneliness, in your solitude.
Yeah.
So you unearth and realize all the things that you are and you're not, and you get comfortable and in fact, all your eccentricities cement. Because you're not always being around people where you have to
you have to tame it down.
Tame it down. So if you spend a lot of time on your own, and all those things about you that you like or don't like sort of cement, and you just become one with it. Just become one with it. So when you go out, all you have to be is just that. That's all you can be. And then obviously over time you start to learn to how to move the levers of things and know what side of you need to
for what situation.
Yeah, but
you kind of have to read the room, because someone like you, how are you able to, because the way your mind is not every situation can.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, so that was even the next part of maturing, knowing what to be and when to be it, and adding those dynamisms to my character, my personality. So because I'm many things, I'm not one thing, but there's a main thing. And I knew that different spaces, the person I'm with Jakpo, person I'm with a client, there's a through line across it all, but there's still variations in terms of how I would navigate. So for example, with you, I can be my most boisterous, say things I want to say about, how I feel. Then with maybe a client, I might bring that down because they need to feel like they're the ones in that space, they're the ones in the room.
You can allow them.
I can allow it.
But you don't allow me.
we're kindred, so yeah. So
we're fine.
Yeah, so we're working off each other. So, but with someone who's not kindred, you don't want to create unnecessary boundaries.
Of course.
That will prevent you from connecting with them. Because I love to connect with people, regardless whether we're different or not, there's still a God in you that
Yeah.
I have to speak to for us to,
Yeah.
you know,
God,
relate.
like you just had to say that. No, but like I just want to take you back to, you said something about 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
Was when you started to accept who you were, or
Yes.
what was 2016? What was 2015?
So two things happened at that time. The Weeknd released that song. What is it called? In my city, I'm a young God.
All right.
You see that?
Yeah.
That was the first thing I was like, oh, I like what that feels like, a young God. That I connected with that. And then Lil Wayne had a song also in that same year where he was like, I'm a young God, swagger unflawed. So two of my favorite artists in that same year had those kinds of languages. And so I took a note of it, but it wasn't until 2019 that the young God became a title for a podcast. I hadn't even thought of a podcast when that thing came up.
Yeah.
You know, but in 2019, I felt like, I'm a God, what can I use to do? Then the young God now became the thing. But in 2016 was that point where I was like, okay, yeah, I can't hide this anymore. I can't keep it inside.
This is who you are.
This is it. Like, I have to say it. And for me to be it, I have to say it, because when you say it, you now have to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
People are going to ask what that means.
Once you put it out there.
Yes. And so now you have to live up to it. So that was like a challenge for me also.
So putting it out there was you saying, you know what, I'm going to follow through.
I'm going to follow through. I'm going to live up to this. I'm going to get people to understand, even those who are doubting or those who are like pushing back. I'm going to get them to understand, no matter how long it takes. I'm in this for the long haul. And I just sort of like settled into it. And as God would have it, over that time, you know, you meet people like yourself who understood, who are not, you know, I mean, it was new, but it was not like you were scared of it.
No, I was intrigued.
Yeah, intrigued. Yeah. So if you're intrigued, oh, that's my person. If you're curious, if you ask, what do you mean? That's my
I always wanted to know. Yeah.
You know, so that was how it sort of developed, and here we are.
So like the young God journey, it's amazing for me, because I remember the first time because I'd known you as a creative, then I started to see young God, and I'm just like, because my question was like, why, like this audacity, right? Where does it come from, right? And I remember having a conversation with you, and you were just breaking things down. I'm like, I was confused and fascinated at the same time. But then I think one of the things I realized was I was trying to translate everything you're saying literally. That's not how you communicate. You're not a literal person per se, right? Like there's a lot of depth and undertone in how you speak, right? And it kind of made me really more interested in your podcast and just hearing the things. And there's a way that you got people to, first of all, they'll be apprehensive, right? Then all of a sudden they'll start to see the God in them, right? I could see that journey during all your podcast sessions. It's like at first, it's like you're whining me. That's how the person feels like. Before you know, then you unearth a God in them. Like, was this something you've always been able to do,
bruh? I think it was something that I learned to do because, again, there was a time when I was so obsessed with my godhood, right? And so for me to do those podcasts and do them well, the way you're saying it now that you felt it, I had to learn to see the God in others. I had to,
so the God in you had to take the back seat.
Yeah, for others to see, to help them. And then once I started to see what that felt like for me and for them, I started to like double into it and learn it and master it. So and that has really been the secret to this thing, because without that, you're just a person that nobody understands, right? But now with that added layer of it, you can bring them up to your level. So it's like coming down to lift them up to your level. Yeah,
it's someone has to do it.
I know how it sounds, but that's really what it is. You know, when you're talking to somebody who is, for whatever reason, close to the idea, and I'm not the kind of guy that will say, I said what I said. I don't like to dismiss people's criticisms or resistance towards what I'm doing, because I believe in people can understand.
Right.
I like to give people grace that you are not so.
If I break it down for you, if I engage with you, you will see where I'm coming from.
Yes, and I believe that I had that ability to do so. And again, bro, it's communication. There's no other training ground for being a good communicator than having a thing that people have to disagree with you, and you decide.
Yeah, you've had some controversial.
and you decide humbly that I'm going to go on this journey with them. But whether it's one person or 100, like I never get tired of it. Like if there's somebody that needs to understand,
You break it down.
I'll break it down again and again.
Doesn't it get exhausting, like being misunderstood sometimes?
It gets exhausting, especially when it's a lover.
Ooh.
You know, that's the one place that you would hope that they would see, and that's where I've sort of even gotten even more interesting, where it's like how I select
Okay.
the people that I date or approach or whatever. Like the journey from 1 to 100, that is from misunderstanding to understanding me. It can't be at 0.
It has to be.
There have to be at least 50% gone.
Yeah.
There's somebody to mess with ladies who were not even close to, and it was just
It was stressful.
it was stressful, like to get there. But outside of that, when it's just because when you have feelings for somebody, it becomes even more of a chore because why isn't this person getting me? You know?
Because there's an emotional attachment to it.
Yes, but when it's just someone you're just like who you don't have that kind of attachment to, who you're just objectively relating with, and they have really no reason because with a lover you have expectations that you should understand me. That's the expectation.
That's the best minimum.
But with a stranger, you have no reason to. So I'll go there with you. Let's go there, and that's just. And then getting better at that even made it better in relationships because now I start to have the words later on
to explain,
to carry them along, and not even at some point even stop being explaining, but even just embodying it in a way that someone said, "Okay, I get it."
Then it makes sense
without me even saying it now.
Yeah.
I see what you mean, and so that being misunderstood thing became a gift in that sense. So because in having to explain myself, I became better at explaining in general. Any concept, anything that
no matter how complex it is, you can break it down.
I can break it down. I have the wherewithal, the emotional intelligence, the empathy. So like, because bro, you know how it is. You know, it's been on social media. You say something and you don't want to like stand on it. You feel like I've said it. It doesn't matter whether you understand it or not. Nah, I feel like if you say something and the goal is to communicate, to be understood and understand, you have to like just meet them where they are.
Be ready for feedback. Like I see some of the comments is like they're really trying to figure out what it is that you're saying.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
and so you meet them there. But it's those that, you know, they're trying to like twist your words, or they've really like closed themselves to it and they're just projecting their own insecurities. Even them, I give them some grace. I'm like, you know what? Let's follow this thing you're saying and see if it come out. But most of the time, we pick our battles now.
No, I love that because then, like, the older you get, you realize like it's not every dog that barks that you throw stones at, right? You just gotta, you gotta keep on going because, yeah. But also for me, I think one of the things that I've seen as well is like the more you evolved within like the expression of the young God, the more your creation with evolved as well.
Yes, bro. Like, you know, entrepreneurship, and you know this, is a crash course in self-development.
Yeah.
Nothing puts you in a place where you have to develop yourself than starting a business and having to see it,
sustain it
and everything, because you realize that for people to even take your business seriously, they have to like connect with you personally.
Yeah.
You know, so
and take you seriously too.
Yeah. So you have to, you know, you start to like see where the areas of refinement are in your character and personality. So man, like, say in 2016, I was an iceberg that was just a rock, you know. But between then and now, it's like chiseling and, you know, and
size,
that
shape,
to form. You know, you turn a rock into a spear. You know what I mean? That's what I feel like.
That's where you're at.
Yeah, I'm being sharpened into a spear now. Whereas then I was just a lump of, you know, just threw it at somebody and
like, and just giving them everything. But now it's like you're more refined and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and this is something that I'm going to talk about that like not a lot of people know. I remember what year it was we thought we were going to get into Big Brother.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember we got in really close and we were planning the branding, the storytelling around it, you know what I mean? And we're talking to sponsors potentially, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't happen, right? And honestly, as a friend, as a brother, I was worried for you, right? Because like I remember when we were having the conversation, like you had this feeling that this was a journey that you really wanted to embark on. And then seeing how the door was shut without proper feedback as well, I was just like, where is this guy gonna go from here? Right. And honestly, the way you evolved from there was super amazing. I think for you, honestly, I feel like it's one of the best things that might have happened to you.
Yeah.
Not making it.
Yeah.
But what was that experience like for you? Not.
So for the viewer audience, I think I should give them
A bit of context.
some context. So imagine you apply for Big Brother, right?
Right.
And by the way, this is the first time I'm telling the story to
Yeah.
only you and Yekan and Aisha,
Yeah.
who were
Part of the
inner circle,
yeah.
know this. But yeah, when I applied, man, they got back to me with the quickness. Like if I applied on Tuesday morning, Tuesday evening, they had accepted to the next stage. And I went through all the stages like on a breeze. It was
easy.
It was easy. Yeah, that year I was on fire.
Yeah, because everyone was speaking, the confidence that which you approached me, I was just like, "God, you're so sure."
Yeah, bro. I went to Lagos. I did all the things. I like the process of that thing is quite interesting how they pull it off. You know, so went through all of it. I made it to maybe the last 40 or 30, I think, and then it was now a matter of okay, we'll get back to you when it's time for us to like move things forward. So at that point you're thinking, you know, it's a wrap. Like we're
just waiting for them to hit us up.
Yeah,
we're planning.
Yeah, you know what I mean. We're planning that. I called Jakpo and said, Jakpo, this is happening. What do we need to do to like make this thing really profitable and strategic? And then when the time came, like the deadline when it was like, if we don't reach out to you by this time, that day came, they still hadn't, and then that day came and went, and then 6 or 4 days later,
there's an announcement.
Yeah, the house Sunday after that week, the house opens and we see the guys. And like, damn, that it broke my heart. I won't lie, because there's something they say: if you want to kill a man, you raise his hopes up and then you take it. Yeah,
that's how you felt.
That's how it felt at that time, But luckily for me, it didn't. It wasn't worse. It didn't like destroy me, for lack of a better term, because I was. But my God, I don't say it. Like the disappointment was heavy, but not so much that
you lost faith in yourself.
Lost faith in myself, or I. Bro, the next thing was what are we doing next? If this thing, that's what I've learned from God. So this God thing is really everything God is, you are. Right. How does God do things? When something doesn't pan out, He moves to the next thing, and He keeps. So, and even at that, I always felt like I was doing Big Brother a favor, not them doing me a favor.
You said that to me.
Yeah, like so. That's the next thing. If I enter that house, like levels will change for everything that is happening there. So I really felt that way. So when the thing didn't work out, it was just a matter of, oh well, they're lost.
Yeah. But can I be honest with you? From the beginning of the conversation, I didn't think it was for you. Do you know what I mean? I had a conversation with you about it. I felt like the kind of publicity that you needed was something that resonated more with your soul, because I felt like that was your essence. Big Brother was gonna focus on so many things that would distract them from your essence, right? And that was my own thought process. But then seeing how you evolved in the young God craft after that, it was like a beast was like, it's almost like, guy, you guys want to fuck with me, I'll show you what I can do.
Like I said, I wasn't going there because of what they would do for me. They would do something for me for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I knew that they didn't know. So I knew what they would do for me, but they didn't know what I would do for them.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where going in there and being myself would make things very interesting.
Of course. Of course.
So I wasn't going there just because we're fit per se, but I went there because I knew that if I was in there, shit would pop off.
It would pop off for everybody.
For everybody, yeah. And that was that. And then moving on from it, when it didn't pan out, of course, like a bat out of hell, because if I wallowed, or if I let this thing question who I am, it's like, again, it's Big Brother. Like, for all it is, You know what I mean? I don't know, like,
No, I get what you mean. Like, to be honest, like, I felt like,
because again, think of it like this: if you look at everybody who has been through there and things have happened, I had to say to myself, maybe I am somebody who should look at this as the experience, because they will not like the experience of going through everything and seeing behind the scenes what happened. That was value in itself, right? It wasn't something that needed to go to its full conclusion.
so you felt like that was what your soul needed.
Yes.
That experience of
That experience of getting there to that point, seeing all there was to see, knowing how these things work, and then getting to the door and trusting that, for whatever reason, maybe it was not now, not time, maybe this was something else, and we'll see what this means.
Yeah.
And that's how I was able to move on and like even translate that energy. Like you said, so they call it energy transmutation.
Yeah.
Or emotional transmutation, where you take
one
feeling
of the
of disappointment and you go and apply it somewhere productive.
It's like now it becomes fuel.
It becomes fuel, yes.
I used to go and do
inspiration for something else. And for real, man, like that's around that time was when I got a very, very nice sponsorship deal. Because with Winston, Winston was supposed to.
Yeah, we have so much.
So that thing turned to something else.
Yes.
Behind the scenes, you know what I mean?
We're talking to Amir.
Like
hat as well.
That turned to something more. Yeah.
Like, so like it opened you up to so many different things.
Yes. So that's really what that experience meant to me. And
so you also said something about like the need for spending time with yourself, right? I remember like lockdown was that period for me. And right at the end of lockdown, we sat down in my living room, right? And we did a session together, right? And it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, right? And I think it's one of the things that made me want to do this, right? It's like there's a way that we spoke that day, right? And there's a way that I recounted my journey up to that point that I'd never been able to put all those pieces together. Like, all these individual parts of your story, right? You know them because you experienced them. But sometimes you need someone to act like a mirror.
Where we at right now?
Rodney, bro, the young god, man. You're a heavy guy.
The Rayven.
Heavy guy, man. So, wow, man, thank you so much for this conversation. Like we said at the beginning, we're going to do a little game.
Yep.
It's called the Card of Thoughts. I'm just going to shuffle it a bit.
Right? You can ask me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Giving it a spin. Let me see. Let me just be a bit dramatic. So we face, because I feel like since I'm the one picking it, right? Okay. So I'm going to read it like I'm reading to you. Where does your spirit rebel against the stories told by the world? Where does your spirit rebel against the stories told by the world? This is really
a
Rodney question, because you're rebellious.
I rebel against the idea that you can't have it all.
Oof.
And that's one of the things that if you hear, whether it's subtly or directly, they're always telling you can't have it all.
Yeah. Limiting you.
Limit yourself or manage. Or so, for example, in marriage, if you want to marry somebody, or if you're not so sure who you want to marry, say things like, your partner doesn't have to be perfect, marriage doesn't have to be perfect. They always say it doesn't have to be this or that. Just do it.
Just do it. Like,
or
what you're looking for doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. Or maybe in life they'll say something like, would you rather have the love of your life, or be financially stable, or live in a walkable city? That you can't have all. You have to choose two.
But you feel we can have it all,
bro.
If you can conceive it,
bro. See, because having it all is the ultimate game. That's really the ultimate game. Once you decide that, I'll just manage this and leave that,
it's a slippery slope.
You've left the game. I'll give you an example. In the Bible, the parable of the shepherd and the sheep. Jesus Christ talked about the shepherd who left the 99 to go get the one. That can be interpreted in many ways, but the way I see it is everything is 100. Even if you have 99, work to get the one. Fill it up. Yeah. So in all things in this life, I'm working towards a situation where I have it all, where I'm able to, not betray who I am, get the worldly things that I want, get the spiritual things that I want, get the family, the children, the legacy. But getting that it takes a different path, and it takes a different kind of, application of oneself. And so I'm alive to that, and I'm like, yo, like when people talk about, oh no, marriage is like this, or business is like this. Even business in Nigeria, I'm like, business what? What? We're here to be a light in darkness. If it's dark here, I'm a light.
You light it up.
You get what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what I do with the podcast, to remind people that if people are thinking like this, there's a way you can think of things that will benefit you, that is better, that is different, that is more elegant, more fluid, more in line with God's plan for you and I. And at the end of the day, you will gain the world and keep your soul.
Oof.